My name is Mallory, and there's only 3 things you really need to know about me. I'm a broke college student, I love to read, and I have an unhealthy obsession with coffee and Taylor Swift. All joking aside, those things are actually very true, but I'm actually here to do the booktube newbie tag. So let's go ahead and dive into those questions before my ADHD sends me on a tangent that's completely unrelated to today's video. I need to slow down. I haven't even had my coffee today. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? It all kind of stems from middle school. So I was a huge reader back in middle school, but no one else around me really was. So I kind of felt lonely and that I couldn't really talk about things that interested me because my friends around me got annoyed if I talked about reading too often. So I went to the internet and YouTube and found booktube and really connected with other people who loved books as much as I did. It was such a huge part of my life throughout middle school and high school, and even to this day, I still watch a lot of booktube videos. It was actually such a huge part of my life that I wrote my college applications essay about reading in booktube, so I think it was kind of inevitable that I would end up here someday. Flash forward to now, and I'm entering my senior year of college, and I have been thinking about doing this for such a long time. I was always held back by being afraid of being judged, or that people would make fun of me, or that it wouldn't get popular. But you know, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that even if people are judging me, who cares? I probably won't ever see them in real life. My family is usually super supportive. My sister actually knows about this and she's very supportive. And the real reason I want to do it isn't to gain followers anyway. It's to be able to just have a community and be able to talk about my favorite books, which is one of the things I'm excited about, is to just be able to yap to a camera about my books, because cameras don't talk back and can't tell me to shut up because I'm being obnoxious about books. So the next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? I don't know if there's anything fun and unique about me that doesn't already exist somewhere in the booktube stratosphere, but that could also just be my anxiety talking, so who really knows? I've been told I'm funny, so maybe my humor, sarcasm might draw you in a little bit. I also figure, you know, like I mentioned, I'm a college student. I'm actually going into my senior year of electrical engineering, and I'm also heavily involved in an engineering student org on my campus. So I'm thinking that maybe, you know, being a full-time student, having this channel, being involved in a student org, and also trying to read all at once kind of brings that unique perspective of being a full-time college student and how much, you know, I actually really read and how busy I can be, and how it's not as easy as it looks on YouTube, because a lot of booktubers are, you know, full-time adults with full-time jobs and don't have as much workload as an engineering student might. Hopefully something about my life is entertaining and will draw you in. If not, don't tell me. I don't want to know. We're just gonna let me remain ignorant, please. The next question is, what are you most excited for about this channel? I'm really just excited about making a community and meeting new people and discovering new things I might not have before from just being a watcher of booktube. But one of my main goals actually is to vlog. That's kind of the main source of content, hopefully, that I'll bring to the channel. And I'm hoping that kind of brings me out of my shell, because while I said that, like, I started this channel because I'm no longer afraid of people perceiving me and judging me, that's not quite true. So I'm hoping that vlogging will kind of bring me out of my shell a little bit and make me a little less afraid of being judged and open up more on this channel. So overall, I'm just very excited for all the possibilities that this may bring. So the next question is, why do you love reading? And I feel like there's the obvious answer that everyone always gives, which is escapism, which is true. I love fantasy, so I love being able to read a book and the entire world around me fades away and I'm only focused on the world that I'm reading. But for me, the reason I really fell in love with reading is that the idea that one person can just have like a little niggle of an idea and come up with an entire story and world and characters with personalities is so cool to me. Like, the idea that there's billions of people in the world with unique brains that can come up with a billion different types of stories is so cool, and it makes me want to just read as much as I can and discover as much as I can, because I just love how different people are that can create all these kinds of stories. So the next question is, what book or series got you into reading? And you know, I've been a reader for as long as I can remember. Ask my parents, ask my sister. I've like always been seen with a book in my hand. If someone thought of me, they immediately also thought of reading. But the first real series that I can remember that really made me fall in love with reading was Percy Jackson. I can vividly remember being in 5th grade, reading on the floor of my 5th grade classroom hallway because I had finished my work for the day, but my teacher didn't want me to be a distraction to the other students, so I got sent into the hallway to read, and I finished The Last Olympian in like 2 hours that day. So that kind of made me fall in love with fantasy and reading as a whole, and I just have never looked back. So I give all of my love to Percy Jackson and Rick Riordan because I still love those books. So the next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So for me, when I started watching booktube, my two favorite booktubers were Emma Books and A Dash of Ash. Now, both of them don't really make content much anymore just because they're adults and life got in the way, which I totally understand. But if I were to actually get to have a conversation with them or meet them, I would probably just ask what, books they've recently read, or like recent favorites that they've had, or, their favorite book boyfriends, just kind of catch up with them and see some of the newer releases that they might have enjoyed that I've also read, because we, have very similar reading tastes. For more modern day booktubers, my favorite person to watch right now is probably Sunny Kim, whose video actually inspired me to finally, do this and start this channel. So instead of asking her a question, I would probably just want to meet her and tell her how grateful I am that she convinced me and pushed me to do this, even if it was just through a YouTube video. The next question is, what challenges about starting a booktube channel do you think will be the hardest to overcome? I know that there's a lot of skill involved in filming and editing and designing thumbnails and stuff like that, but I'm a fairly creative person. I was the social media chair for my student org last year, and I'll be the blog and podcast chair this year for that same org. And so I'm pretty creative, and I kind of learn things on a quick basis. So I feel like it's not going to take me that long to pick up on, the editing and the creative side of it. But, like I might have mentioned earlier, I have ADHD. So the part that stresses me out the most, the time management of it all. I have executive dysfunction, which sometimes makes it hard for me to just, live and do basic things, let alone also being a student, being a part of that student org, and now this. So I'm a little nervous about having the organization to be able to maintain all of this. I think planning an organization will be tantamount to my success, and I think it'll work out just because this is something I'm really excited about. So I think I'll make it somewhat of a priority, hopefully not more of a priority than my schoolwork. So the next question is, when did you start reading? And like I said, I've genuinely been reading for as long as I've started forming memories. My dad likes to say that I actually taught myself to read. I don't think that's true. I just think that, my mom, my dad, my grandparents always read to me growing up, so I just kind of picked it up from them reading to me. And you could ask any of my teachers from kindergarten all the way up to my senior year of high school. You could look at me, and I probably always had my nose hidden in a book because I loved reading so much. Even my junior and senior years of high school, I was a librarian's aide, which gave me even more of an excuse to read books when we didn't have anybody coming to check out books. So the next question is, where do you read? Pretty much everywhere. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment, so here the only real places I have that I can read comfortably are my bed, which I don't do very often because I don't like to do much of anything besides sleep in my bed, or else my sleep schedule will be extremely messed up. So really I only read in my living room on my couch. But I read pretty much anywhere and everywhere that I can. I have a Kindle, and I also have the Kindle app on my phone with Kindle Unlimited, so I kind of always read on the go. And I also listen to audiobooks, so I can read while doing other things, which is something I do a lot. To convince me to do things like cleaning and cooking, I'll listen to an audiobook to make it a little more enjoyable. The next question is, what books do you like to read? So the two main genres of things that I read, and if you look at my bookshelves, this will be pretty obvious, is fantasy and romance. But I do read a little bit of everything. I own, mystery thriller, regular contemporaries. I own sci-fi. I own even a couple horror books, but I mainly read fantasy and romance. I do want to get into more genres. I want to get more into the mystery thrillers and the horror and all of that, but it's sometimes so hard to get out of your comfort zone because you're not sure if you'll like it. So I'm hoping also by doing this, it'll force me to get out of that comfort zone a little bit. And then the last question is, what does your collection look like? I really have just one spot with my collection, 2 bookshelves that are organized by genre and then by author's last name, except for these top 2 shelves on this bookshelf that are dedicated to just my Rick Riordan books and then my Cassandra Clare books. And the reason for that is just, I have a lot of books from those authors, and so realistically, even if I were to organize by genre, they probably end up on their own shelves anyway, and so it was just easier to do it that way. And with that, I have officially finished the booktube newbie tag. I hope this wasn't too awkward. Sure feels like it was awkward for me. Once again, I just want to reiterate, I am so excited to be finally doing this and to put myself out there and talk about my books with anyone who will listen. And I will see you next week with a new video.